ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नित्यानन्दनमस्तुभ्यं प्रेमानन्दप्रदायिने कलौ कल्मषनाशाय जानवापते नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita। और साथ में ये भी एक प्लान कर लीजिए नेक्स्ट यूथ कैंप का, ठीक है, उसको एंड में डिस्कस करते हैं। So we are discussing from chapter 2 verse number chapter 2 verse number 69. Yes, in the previous verse we discussed तस्माद् यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इंद्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता। So therefore, mighty Arjuna, or mighty arm, one who senses a restraint from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. So regarding this, we discussed in our Dehu Youth Yatra in great detail. We discussed from teachings of Hansarupa elaborately. So one who senses a restraint from sense their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. So regarding this intelligence, one whose intelligence is corrupted, he cannot have, or materially polluted, he cannot have complete restraint of the senses. But one who establishes himself actually in transcendental intelligence. Transcendental intelligence means intelligence given by the Supreme Lord. And in this way, one who establishes himself as an eternal servant of Krishna, identifies himself with the Supreme Lord alone, he can get rid of the temptation of material sense object. So this verse we discussed last time. Next, Lord Krishna says, Yanisa sarva bhutana tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisa pashyato mane. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So in this particular verse, Lord Krishna explains the mentality or lifestyle or conceptions, or we can say goals, or endeavor also. Lifestyle, conception, goals, endeavors, mentality of two different types of people, two different types of people. So, two different kinds of people are one is one who is introspective sage, Sanyami, the self-controlled. The self-controlled means one who is serious candidate for spiritual life. That is one category of person. And second category is one who is interested in enjoying material world. Uh, Sarva Bhutana. What Krishna says. In the second category, he places Sarva Bhutana. Sarva Bhutana means, uh, in general, people in general, they are not interested to make spiritual advancements. Mostly they are interested to enjoy sense gratification. And that's why they are unable to control their mind and senses. So, on the other hand, there are different category of people who are known as samyami. Sanyami. Sanyami means jitendriya, means one who can control one's mind and senses, self-controlled. So, as the verse explains, Sarva Bhutanam is one category. Sarva Bhuta means, Sarva means all, Bhutana means living entities, means almost all the living entities. So Sarva Bhutanam means almost all the living entities. And Sanyami, out of all the living entities, very few rare, there are few introspective sages or person who are Sanyami. Sanyami means self-control, who can control their mind and senses. So what does this mean? This means that they have a complete clear-cut idea, or you can say they have clarity of intelligence, like what is good for me, what is not good for me. So based on such clear-cut knowledge, the Sanyami or self-controlled persons are able to control themselves, and in this way they engage only in activities which are favorable for making advancement in life. So that is the meaning of Sanyami, self-control. Self-control or Sanyami or Jitendriya doesn't mean that one does not get the impetus or agitation of the senses to enjoy sense gratification, because that we have already discussed in our youth camp. I think some of the devotees are present who attended this Devayatra. So it is clearly stated there, Lord Krishna in the form of Hansa incarnation, he says that this is very natural. The natural proclivity of mind is to get attracted towards objects of the senses. And it is also natural for sense objects to enter into the mind in the form of material desires. So mind is in sense object, and sense objects are in the mind in the form of material desires. So, so it is not possible that the desire for sense gratification may not appear within the mind. But Sanyami, a self-controlled person, is one, or introspective sage, Prabhupada writes, Pashyato Munehe. Introspective sage means Pashyataha for the introspective. In this verse, the last line, second last word, Pashyato means one who can see clearly as it is. He is known as introspective. One who can introspect uh, what is good, what is not good, and in this way take decision. He is known as Sayami, self-controlled. One who can understand that these activities of sense gratification is poison for me. So such a person is known as intelligent, or uh, or or truly introspective person, and he can decide not to fulfill, not to act upon the dictations of the mind and senses. So he understanding very well that mind and its objects to enjoy, sense objects. These both mind and objects of the mind are belongs to these both mind and objects of the mind belong to this material existence, while I do not belong to this material existence. My destination, or my existence is completely aloof or separate from what the mind dictates, what the mind feels, and what the objects of the senses provide or can provide to me. I have nothing to do with such thing. So understanding very well this, the Sayami or introspective sage acts exactly opposite to what is expected normally by by an ordinary person, Sarvabhutanam, people in general, the way they act, and but the introspective sage or self-controlled person doesn't act like his his decisions, his determination, and his ideas or conceptions or mentality, his concepts, and his way of thinking, a way of analyzing, a way of accepting things in his life are completely opposite. This you can very well understand. Uh, just like in our youth camp, I was giving this example. This Those who are devotees means introspective sage, those who are Sanyami, self-controlled. So their idea or their concept is that this human form of life is very rare. This human form of life is temporary. We have got this life for some 60, 70, 80 years, very short duration of life. It's not very big life. 60, 70 years or 80 years at most, 90, 100 years. This passes very quickly. You won't even realize when you become old. Just like I remember, oh, अभी तो कुछ समय पहले कॉलेज में एडमिशन लिया था when I was 18 years old. Uh, so I got admitted in college, started practicing devotional service, 18, 19 years old. So, but very soon, my hairs are growing old, means white. Now I'm becoming old. Uh, this you can realize how this 15, 14, 15 years just passed like anything. How many of you have realized in your life that uh, uh, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years have passed like anything? You didn't even realize that how this life has passed. Have any one of you have realized this in your life? Similarly, we are young now. Right now, we are very young, enthusiastic, and ambitious to do certain things, to enjoy our material life very nicely. But very soon, uh, without even our realization, we'll become old. And very soon, we'll be on bed, approaching near death, and finally, the death comes, the ultimate last chapter of our life, last. So, so intelligent person, Sanyami, self-control, those who are introspective sages, those who can think in a bigger manner. So they think that this life is we have the life of very short duration, short span of life we have. So why to unnecessarily waste it in engaging ourselves in the activities of sense gratification? Why not to act in a way which can give us eternal life? This life is very short. So intelligent person thinks like this. Why why not to control and tolerate the urges of mind and senses? And why not to find out the way to become eternal, uh, to perfect our life, never to die, never to experience death, old age, disease. Uh, that is the sign of an intelligent person. So instead of engaging in activities of sense gratification, when opportunity for sense gratification comes, such an introspective sage, he can very clearly see that this is going to kill me. I'm unnecessarily going to get entangled, or I'm unnecessarily going to waste this human form of life also. And this in this way, I will lose something very not very most valuable, uh, Krishna consciousness. I will lose if I accept the opportunity for sense gratification just for temporary period of life. This is what the an introspective says thinks. He has this concept. On the other hand, the person who is exactly opposite to an introspective sage who is materialistic, he also analyzes uh, in a similar way, but gets a different impetus, inspiration to act. He also thinks life is very temporary, uh, and especially this youthful energy, youthful time is for short duration of only for 15, 10, 15, 20 years. So let us enjoy it completely. Uh, Life coaches in Chilo. Just like I remember when I was in college days. So some of the friends, uh, they had this kind of idea, conception that as long as we are in college, let us enjoy it fully. Because after getting out of the college, again, so many responsibilities, so many things, uh, no independence, first angry. They also, everyone knows this, interestingly, that after getting married, we are going to get entangled in responsibilities, maintaining the family, and so many things. So they want to fully means enjoy the life before getting married. And because some of the person, because they want to increase the duration of such enjoyment, so they decide not to get married, but to uh, live in living culture, to but not to get married because they want to increase the duration of their so-called independent life. Uh, but this is the extreme foolishness. The worst kind of foolishness one can have is to think that I can increase the duration of my so-called independent life. He doesn't know that his so-called independence, his so-called acting independently out of his own mental whimsical desires, is going to lead him towards a perpetual transmigration of birth and death. He doesn't know this. So the extreme foolishness is to increase the duration of material existence by trying to increase the so-called independent life of of unrestricted sense enjoyment. This is the greatest danger or risk for, for any human being. Anyway, so they think like this. So they want to enjoy uh, their so-called independent, free life, free college life completely. Um, this is one idea. Those who have no introspection, those who have no intelligence, those whose intelligence is filled with cow dung, not cow dung. Cow dung भी होगा तो थोड़ा सात्विक रहेगा, something else. But on the other hand, there are uh, we we observed there were devotees also studying, living in the same college, and their idea was also that oh, college life very precious. We have full opportunity to engage in devotional service because not so much responsibility. After getting job, we will have so many responsibilities to fulfill. So we'll not be able to nicely practice devotional service, serve Krishna. So let us do as much as possible now. The devotees were thinking like this. In both the cases, those who were non-devotees and those who were devotees, both the cases, they gave only that much time for studies, which was absolutely required. But the extra time they wanted to use it for something substantial or valuable, which they thought. everyone in this world. According to their concept or conception, or based on their consciousness, everyone develops certain kind of conceptions to live in this world, uh, uh, depending upon which they decide something or something or some activity to be substantial, valuable. Uh, a person who is materially contaminated, who is having materially contaminated consciousness, materially contaminated consciousness means consciousness to enjoy this material existence to one's fullest capacity. That is materially contaminated consciousness. So such a person has the conception, or for such a person uh, to arrange the facilities for sense enjoyment becomes the substantial task in his life. That is substance, valuable, most valuable. To get a very nice job so that he can earn very nice amount of money, to get nice bank balance, well established social life, so that expecting that our social life will give us protection whenever there will be dangers, risk in our uh, means activities of sense enjoyment, sense gratification. If we get some risk or danger, then our social life will protect us. So in this way, such a person whose intelligence is not very pure, he makes something else to be more substantial or valuable than Krishna consciousness. This is known as Dutiya Viniveshataha. In Bhagavatam 11th canto, it is explained. Bhayam Dutiya Viniveshatasya Ishadupeksha Tad Viparyayo Bhayam. Everyone is fearful in this material existence. There is no doubt about it. Nobody can deny this. Somebody may be fearful of losing job. Somebody may be fearful of whether he will be able to make a good career or not. Somebody may be fearful of health, good health. Somebody may be fearful of maintaining good social life. Somebody may be fearful of uh, death, old age, disease. It could be different things, but the central point is that a person whose consciousness is invested uh, in something else other than the Lord. Dutiya. Dutiya means secondary, not the Lord, not the Supreme Lord. Secondary, Dutiya. Aviniveshata. His consciousness is absorbed in something other than the Supreme Lord. So such a person must succumb to fearful state of material existence. Uh, but a person whose consciousness is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, so he becomes free from this fearfulness. So this difference is there. Sanyami, one category of person is Sanyami, Atma Sanyami. He can control his mind and senses. And another person is Sarvabhutana, people in general, who are running after for acquiring objects of sense gratification. So what is the difference between two of them? So there is no not much difference. Both kind of people, they have two hands, two legs, eyes, nose, ears, everything. They have mind, intelligence. Both of them are living this material existence, eating, sleeping, and dealing, interacting with the same social setup, same society, same. All the conditions are same. Everything is same. The only difference is one who is Atma Sanyami. He has clear intelligence, pure intelligence, by which he is able to understand the real purpose of life. And because of being able to nicely understand the real purpose of life, uh, he understands it very well that the activities of sense gratification is going. is a great obstacle for me to attain my real purpose of life, which is a spiritual destination. That is a sign of really intelligent person who has pure intelligence, who has developed this pure intelligence in the association of devotees by hearing from them. Uh, So, on the other hand, the second person who is materialistic, Sarvabhutanam, people in general, means more than 99% people. So, there is no much difference. They also have intelligence, but because they have choose not to associate or hear from devotees to understand the real purpose of life, and they have decided uh, not to give up sense gratification. To have desires for sense gratification is not a disqualification, or to get the dictation or impetus to enjoy sense gratification is not a disqualification. Uh, but the disqualification is uh, to not have the desire to give up this enjoying propensity in this material existence. That is a disqualification. So that makes the difference between between pupil in general and Atma Sanyami, a self-controlled, introspective, spiritual person. This is the difference. Just like in material life also it is said, what is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary person? So the difference is just extra. Both of them are ordinary person. But the difference is the extraordinary person is little extra, something extra, you can say. Everything else is same. He also eats, he also sleeps, he also walks, talks, things, whatever, all the material activities may be same. But he is little extra in something. That's why he becomes extraordinary. So although the difference is very little extra, but that makes the result not just little extra. The result is completely opposite, 180-degree opposite. An ordinary person may be just ordinarily living in this material world without any recognition, with no good amount of material facilities. But an extraordinary person, because of little extra, uh, he he can acquire so many things. This is material example. Uh, Similarly, in a spiritual life also, a spiritual person and material person. A spiritual person have a very bright, good, ultimate destination of eternal life, eternal, blissful, full of knowledge life. That is the destination, the result of a spiritual person. And material person means the result is, destination is to go on rotating, transmigrating in the cycle of birth and death. But this is the result is having a great difference. Uh, But what is the difference between these two persons? A little extra. What is that little extra? The simple thing. The spiritual persons, they also have their mind, senses, body. They are also living in human society. They are also eating, sleeping, everything. Everything is common. The only little extra is those who are spiritual personalities. In the association of devotees, they have developed this clear-cut intelligence, knowledge that I'm not this body. I do not belong to this material existence. I have nothing to do with this material mind and its objects. And my only purpose of life is to become fully Krishna conscious in this life itself and go back home, back to Godhead. So, based on this divine transcendental knowledge, spiritual persons, or those who are serious candidates in spiritual life, they have decided not to cultivate the desires for sense gratification. They have decided to give up, to become free from this, not to act upon this dictation of material desires. This is the difference. On the other hand, those who are materialistic person, they also have the same thing in common. Everything is there. But because they have not chosen to associate with devotees, they have not chosen to hear from devotees and understand clearly very well the real purpose of life. Or even if somebody who has chosen to associate with devotees and hear from them regularly And even after understanding the real purpose of life, if a person who has decided not to, who have decided not to give up material attachments, listen it very carefully. Those who have materialistic attachments and who may not be able to give up it immediately, all the material attachments. So such person can also elevate themselves and come to the platform of perfect spiritual platform. But those who, even after associating with devotees, even after hearing and understanding the real purpose of life, still those who have decided not to give up material attachments, they are such persons who can never get liberated, who can never perfect their life. In Bhagavad, such persons are known as Grihastha. Grihastha means those people who have decided not to give up their material life, not to give up their material attachments, those who have decided not to give up their desires for sense gratification. And this is what makes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary person, or we can say materialistic person, sarvabhutanam, people in general, and and introspective sage, atma sanyami, self-control person. Okay, so because time is over, we'll stop here. We'll take some questions. We'll discuss more about this verse tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.